Ever feel like life's muted after a spiritual breakthrough? You finally get it, see through the matrix, experience that profound aha moment, and then nothing. The drive fizzles out, the passion fades. You're left wondering, why am I so uninspired now? Isn't it a bizarre paradox? We expect enlightenment to light us up, set our souls on fire, but for many of us, the deep thinkers, the empaths, the truth seekers, it's like unplugging from the mains. It empties us out. I remember a friend, brilliant, insightful, drowning in spiritual texts. Then, after a major upheaval, clarity. She understood. Yet weeks later, she confessed, I used to stress about achievement. Now, I don't care about anything. I thought awakening would energize me, not leave me like this. Sound familiar? The legendary psychologist Carl Jung foresaw this. He knew awakening wasn't just sunshine and rainbows. He said, enlightenment doesn't come by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Translation, it's not the finish line, it's the beginning of a kind of psychological death. The you thought you were, your carefully constructed world of goals, career, relationships, it all crumbles. But here's the kicker. Your ego isn't gone. It's just disoriented, lost its map. Without that map, motivation vanishes. You're not necessarily depressed or clinically unmotivated. You're in a psychological waiting room. You've woken up from something, but not yet into something else. Think of it as ego limbo. Here's the secret that's often missed. This feeling, it's not a failure. It's not a sign you're doing it wrong. It's something ancient, something sacred. Jung warned that our fast-paced world avoids this phase like the plague. But he believed this pause, this void, is essential for true individuation, becoming your authentic self. This loss of motivation might be the biggest spiritual upgrade you ever experience, if you understand it. So what's really going on inside you? Why does awakening sometimes feel like a soul-sucking vacuum? Imagine your motivation as a program running on outdated software. For most of your life, your ego identity fueled your drive. The me you thought you were. Striving for approval, success, love. Jung called this the persona, the mask we wear to function. Awakening rips off that mask. Suddenly, the game feels pointless. You see the game, and that's where things get strange. Your old goals, designed for a version of you that no longer exists, feel ill-fitting. You're like an actor who's wandered off set, clueless about their lines. You haven't lost your drive. You've simply outgrown the fuel that powered it. Jung believed we're not here to serve the ego, we're here to integrate it, to align it with something bigger, what he called the self. This is the journey from a fragmented identity to a whole, unified being. Not the small self craving praise, but the soul-level center connected to everything. This self doesn't care about status, approval, or even having all the answers. It's here to express truth. Express, not impress. That's the motto. When awakening happens, your psyche recalibrates. It starts rejecting anything fake, forced, or ego-driven. Jobs, relationships, ambitions, even that vision board you made. This is why awakening feels both liberating and disorienting. But Jung warned, stop here and you get stuck. Some mistake this stage for spiritual bypassing, disconnecting and numbing out, confusing detachment with disengagement. But the self wants something different, to live through you. To bring heaven down to earth, to redefine your role in the world. To do that, you have to go through a weird middle phase that Jung described with laser accuracy, a phase almost no one talks about. It's not glamorous. It doesn't look like meditating on a mountaintop or posting profound quotes. It looks like sitting in silence, unable to explain yourself, while the world rushes by. Jung would say, you're not lost, you're in between. You've disidentified from the ego, but haven't yet found a new way to live from the self. This space is not a failure, it's a rite of passage. But our productivity-obsessed world misdiagnoses stillness as laziness, pause as paralysis. You judge yourself, blocking the energy your soul is trying to reclaim. Jung called this pause enantiodromia, when things flip into their opposite. After awakening, your inner pendulum swings from ego-driven striving to soul-level stillness, from I must do everything to why do anything. This swing is sacred. It's how balance is restored. It's the hermit phase, the death before rebirth, the moment the caterpillar turns to soup inside the cocoon. It's not a butterfly yet, not a bug anymore. just goo. Goo doesn't get stuff done. It dissolves. The ego panics. It wants action, identity, direction. But the self whispers, let go, I'm building something deeper here. Deeper than you can imagine. This is where modern spirituality often skips the hard stuff. It teaches, follow your joy, or high vibes only. But Jung would say, if you skip the darkness, you skip the gold. Shadow integration, facing your repressed, uncomfortable parts, is essential for becoming whole. It's not optional. It's the core curriculum of being a human soul. This sacred nothingness you feel is where the unconscious finally has space to rise. You're not failing. You're metabolizing. Your psyche, in its wisdom, stalls your motivation, your drive, even your clarity. So you're forced to feel, witness, and reclaim what you've buried. That's the real work. And here's the beautiful twist. When you stop resisting the void, something strange happens. Motivation returns, but it feels different. It's not anxious, performative, or fueled by hustle. It's something older, quieter, a soul-led movement that feels like remembering instead of chasing. Jung called this the emergence of the self, not as a concept, but as a living inner compass. So you've walked through the void. You've felt the silence, the stillness, the deep pause. Now, something new stirs inside you. Not a lightning bolt, but a quiet pull. Not to go back to your old life, but to build a new one. This is the self beginning to speak, not in words, but in nudges, resonance, synchronicities. Jung called it the symbolic life. He believed that once the ego has surrendered and the unconscious is integrated, we become capable of living from a place deeper than personality. Life stops being about survival and becomes about meaning. Here's the surprising part. It's often beautifully ordinary. When the self leads, you don't hustle, you respond. You're not motivated by FOMO. You're guided by alignment. You no longer chase clarity. You recognize it when it arrives. Living from the self doesn't mean you'll always feel motivated in the traditional sense. You might still experience waves of fatigue, confusion, or even grief. That's being human. But you won't feel that constant sense of inner betrayal, of dragging yourself through a life that doesn't fit. Instead, you might notice you're drawn to create, even when no one's watching. You say no to things that don't resonate, even if they look good on paper. You follow your curiosity, not your checklist. You choose peace over performance. This is the new fuel. It's not adrenaline, it's alignment. Jung called this living symbolically, trusting your inner imagery, dreams, synchronicities, gut feelings as guidance. So, what does this look like in real life? Sometimes it's as simple as asking different questions. Instead of what should I do? Ask what's quietly calling me. Instead of what's the plan? Ask where is life nudging me? Instead of how can I prove myself? Ask what feels honest. You begin to participate with life instead of trying to dominate it. This doesn't mean giving up ambition. It means transforming it. Ambition becomes devotion to truth, presence, and growth. And the irony is, that kind of energy gets things done way more effectively than ego ever could. But now, it's sustainable. Now, it's soul-powered. This is the self's motivation, not to impress, but to express. And it often leads you to create, serve, heal, teach, and build, not because you should, but because your whole being says yes. So if you've been feeling like your spark is gone after awakening, know that the old fire burned down so you could find a deeper flame. One that doesn't flicker when external winds blow. Jung didn't promise an easy path, but if you're here, you're already walking it. It's not about getting back your old motivation. It's about discovering a new one, rooted in wholeness, not performance. Remember this, wholeness, not performance. This isn't the end of your awakening. It's the beginning of your becoming.